Good afternoon, everybody out there. This is Arjax coming at you again. I was going to do some questing today, um, but I really can't find a way to get to the questing zone that I want to in any sort of nice, convenient way. So I'm going to be slowly making my way up to the Western Playgrounds um, throughout this video and a couple more, and probably a little bit offline to do some quests. Um, so bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and run some dungeons because I can absolutely do that and get that going for us. So I'm actually very happy with your guys' reception. I actually had somebody message me and play with me a little bit. I do apologize. My life has been pretty hectic. I got a ton of stuff in the real world to get done, and so I've actually, sloughed off a little bit as far as getting these playthroughs, the Let's Play WoW videos up. Um, the biggest issue that I've been having is I just don't have time right now. I have uh, I have college courses right now that I'm doing, and I'm doing this, first thing in the morning on Monday. Today I have to read a calculus chapter, learn everything in it, do a piece of homework, and then on top of that, I need to do the same thing with chemistry. And then I have to take a chemistry test tomorrow, and I also have to, on top of that, then I have to start doing my English class that I've put off because I've just been doing homework pretty much nonstop all weekend. Um, so, these are slowing down a little bit, and I do apologize for that. And I do assure you that there is nothing else that I'd rather do than to sit around and play World of Warcraft. I absolutely would love to do that. But since I make most of my money by going to school, that I really have to go to school and make sure that I'm accomplishing that. And the reason why I say I make most of my money going to school is because I'm a veteran, and we got the post 9/11 bill that's going on here. I don't know what's going on with the healer, so let's ask. The healer does not appear to be healing me at all. The healer is like naked. So, yeah, the healer's naked. The healer's not doing anything except for following along. So, I'm actually going to initiate. Oh my gosh. He can't be kicked for 13 minutes. So, that kind of really does suck right here. This is one of those things. So, the reason why he can't get kicked for 13 minutes is because he um, has got kicked so many times before and so frequently that he most certainly cannot be kicked because because Blizzard put this thing into play that makes it impossible for you to kick people who are repeatedly kicked to increase their value of the game. So, just because somebody is really bad at the game, I mean, he's obviously not even trying. He's level 35, and I can't kick him because he's honestly been kicked before. I mean, that's the only reason you can't kick players that I have heard of for a duration of time. Sometimes you'll see characters with like 4 hours you can't be kicked. Um, but yeah, he definitely is somebody that's probably just running this for the passive EXP. So that kind of sucks. It does appear that the hunter's pet is taunting, or somebody is taunting off me. So we'll see how that goes. Not a huge deal at the moment. So I don't think it's the druid, but this kind of sucks because I would definitely be pulling a lot faster and more stuff if I could count on my health to be there. So It really sucks. Unfortunately for us, well, maybe we'll end up kicking him before the end of the dungeon, but it's completely, disrespectful in my opinion to run a dungeon with no gear. And I'm not talking about poor gear. I'm talking this character is half naked running this dungeon. It's also disrespectful for to queue for a important role in a dungeon. I mean, not saying that DPS isn't important, and I've illustrated how DPS is important, but without the healer, I mean, obviously everything, this whole run is going to be much slower. Um, if he wants to heal or he wants to do something, absolutely, I'm all for that, and I'm all for the learning. But he isn't even trying to learn how to play World of Warcraft. He's running around naked in a dungeon, so kind of sucks for everybody in the dungeon group, including myself, um, that have to put up with this. I think he's even a priest. Let's check this out. Yeah, he's a discipline priest, and they have those healing abilities. But I believe the discipline priests even have a bubble, and obviously he's not here to heal because he hasn't even cast a bubble. So yeah, that is pretty. I mean, look at this. What is this guy doing? Obviously, he hasn't been doing anything. Um, Blizzard needs to really fix that and allow people to be kicked, even if they're kicked repeatedly. Because if somebody's kicked repeatedly, obviously there is a major issue with their playstyle and how they're playing, and it's not conducive to you're making his gameplay better and you're making it so that he enjoys World of Warcraft better. Everybody else in this dungeon um, is going to have to do something that they didn't queue for. Uh, Somebody is healing me, and it's not the priest. So that person there isn't doing the role, and they're having to step up to accomplish something that is not their responsibility. Um, Meanwhile, he gets all the free XP from us completing it. If honestly, if there wasn't four other people in the group, I would probably just quit this and pause the video and come back and requeue later. But this is very unfortunate that this is the case. But this is Let's Play WoW, and you get to experience all the wonderful people in World of Warcraft with me, and see what everybody else is doing out there. It's not very common. This is actually the first time I've ever queued for a dungeon where the healer was naked. um, Now I've queued for dungeons, gone naked, switched gear, and put new gear on. I mean that's something that happens. What I'm really wondering is if he doesn't normally have heirlooms and just forgot to equip them. But either way, he's still not really doing anything. It's just kind of like he's following the group along. So, and let's try to kick him. I'll ask him, why not? So, and like the gear he has is level 10, and I have poor gear too, relatively speaking, but all my gear is at least like level 35, or the item level. So, yep. So let's see who's actually doing the healing. There is a thing over here. Healing done. Um, yeah, he's not even healing at all. Zero. Let me report this. Um, Instance. So he's not, yeah, he's not even doing anything. He hasn't even he hasn't even healed. I mean, this is the healing done. I have done 66% of the healing in the dungeon, and the druid has done 33%. So that is absolutely ridiculous. You know, so we get to kick him, which I hope Dagash passes. So, I mean, he wasn't even doing. Did I kick the wrong person? Uh-oh. Oops. That is pretty horrible. Wow. Yeah, I'm done with this. I am not. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna run a dungeon where number one, they're not even doing anything, and number two, they are, they're just eating up my time, everybody's time, in order to do that. I'm gonna get a. I can't queue for a random dungeon for 4 minutes, but you know what? Let's go ahead and try to get out of this area, which I don't really know how to do. Um, and go ahead and start heading to the Eastern Playgrounds. Um, it's really unfortunate that stuff like that happens. I I can't believe I accidentally kicked the wrong person. That is horrible. I feel very bad about that right now. But stuff like that happens. I should have. I don't even know. That's just that is pretty much an epic fail on my part. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna run a dungeon where me as a warrior tank, you know, am doing most of the healing. Um, that's my impending victory heal. That's the only heal I have. Killing an enemy that yields experience um, resets the cooldown. That's the only way I was healing that entire dungeon. That is not acceptable. That is not acceptable for a warrior tank to have 66% of the heals with that done. I'm sorry. That's just that's horrible. If you're a healer and you allow that to happen, you're obviously not healing. There's no way for that to, there's no way that accidentally happens. There's absolutely no way that happens. And obviously, I can't heal other people with that. So other people were just regenerating their own health. So, but yeah, that's pretty pitiful, to say the least. Like absolutely pitiful, for that to even exist, for that to be a thing. He was certainly naked in the party, which is like, what are you doing? But you know, I do enjoy questing. A little bit. I've kind of enjoyed it a little bit. I'm level 36 now. I just deemed in that dungeon, despite the healer being non-existent. So I'm going to try to get all the way up here to Western Playgrounds, um, and we'll see how well that works out. I'm not very good at traversing terrain to get to places. So not being able to fly and not having these points, the flight paths, really does kind of suck. So that's kind of what does suck a little bit for. Who is this guy? He seems like he's important. Let's kill him. Does he drop anything cool? No. A bunch of copper. So. And you know what? Maybe somebody's going to watch this and be like, dude, why didn't you just do this? And I'm going to be like, because I'm an idiot. And, that's ultimately what's going to happen because I'm sure that there is an easier way to get here. I don't know it. Because I'm obviously running cross country to try to get up to this zone that I don't know any of the stuff in. But, thus is my questing experience. This is, for me, I just normally stick to dungeons because in dungeons uh, I can absolutely just continue on what I am doing. So, with that said, I don't have to go out and try to traverse the world as far as quests go. Um, and so, without me having to do that, I don't end up, going out. So, I think well, no, I know for sure that I have characters that have not left the Stormwind starting area from their progression all the way to level 90 in my garrison. Is that bad? It is what it is. I enjoy running dungeons, so that's why I run dungeons so frequently. So let's go ahead and queue for another dungeon. I feel really bad. Normally, I'd probably create a character on a different server to go apologize to the person that got kicked. I wasn't exactly sure who got kicked, and I do absolutely feel very horrible that they got kicked. That was, that was my fault. Because when I realized it, I'm like, oh crap, and then I can't initiate any more kicks. So that means that the healer gets a free pass. Ultimately, what I'm pretty sure ended up happening was that entire party got disbanded. And as friendly as I am, and as much as I'm like, yeah, help out new players, if they're not going to help themselves, and if they're not going to put on gear, or even attempt to cast healing spells, you know, honestly, he probably was using a macro. Probably's gotten away with it. Gotten away with just healing himself through dungeons and just standing there and collecting that passive exp that they're gonna get. So that's what it is, and I'm not okay with that. It's not that I'm like, oh well, you need to do your job. I am kind of like that a little bit actually, but ultimately, you know, if you're not gonna do your job, we're not going to do the dungeon as fast. I mean, it's so much easier just to go ahead and, do what you're supposed to do in a dungeon rather than, waste everybody's time. I mean, honestly, with that dungeon, I could have probably been done with it in about twice the time that it took to get to the third boss. You know, so I mean, it's not, if it didn't affect anybody else, I mean, obviously it's going to affect other people, but if it didn't affect, the group in a negative way, I probably wouldn't have really cared that he was AFK. I mean, I would have been annoyed. Don't get me wrong, I definitely would have been annoyed that he was, and I can't even say that he was AFK, but I'm going to assume that he used a program to queue into the dungeon and then went AFK and just had a, like, using a program like auto hotkey to input things for him on an infinite loop. So follow, cast whatever he was casting on himself, and just follow along like that, because he obviously was not an active participant in the dungeon. He did a little bit of damage, and that was about it. That was like his claim to fame. He did a little bit of damage, zero healing. Not even to like another character. It's not like, So, I'm gonna pick up these flight paths on my way out here, because if I don't, when I get to the area, there's, obviously there's gonna be flight paths, and but when you get the flight pass, if there's nothing connecting them, then you can't use them. So I'm going to pick up flight paths on my journey out here. um, or out there. And it might be a little bit, I might go out of my way a little bit to pick them up, because, it's just one of those things that you really do need to pick up. Not necessarily for, I mean, if you want, you don't have to pick them up. Obviously, you don't have to pick them up. But if you want to use them, you have to pick them up. So if I want to ever get back to like this zones up here without running forever to try to get it, I don't even think there's no city up here, so I can't even port up here. I honestly think that this is the only way to do it. So definitely super annoying. Now Death Knights, they can port back about where I'm going, but what they can't do, I don't think, no, I don't think anybody but Death Knights can go through there. Oh, shoot. So that kind of sucks. So none of these flight paths are actually going to connect. So if I want to use these, I'll have to fly to like the farthest point and then run around and get connecting flight paths until it unlocks this area over here. But either way, I'm in the area. I might as well pick them up. You never know when you're going to use something like a flight path. Normally I use it just for like AFKing and getting to places. And I don't do that often. If there was, and a lot of the stuff that I used to do in WoW has kind of gone away because I used to farm for like rare enchants and stuff, but with the changes to the enchanting, um, you know, I don't think that there's any enchants that are even relevant anymore in World of Warcraft for that sort of thing. So, where is this flight path? Oh, he's over here. So we get to go to another dungeon. Hopefully, in this dungeon, it's going to go smoother, and maybe people are going to do what they're supposed to do in the dungeon. So we'll see. We'll see how that ends up working out. And it looks like it's probably going to be the same dungeon. So, oh no, not same dungeon. This one's okay too. This is a fairly quick dungeon. I'm going to get the EXP bonus, the bag, because it's a random dungeon. I've done this before, so I do apologize for the repetitiveness, but if you're going to tank dungeons or run dungeons in your leveling progression, you obviously are going to run the same dungeons over and over again. It's just it's just something that's going to happen. And since I can't pronounce the word that I was going to say, um, that is, so let me mark myself. I'm going to mark myself with a star, not because I think I'm a superstar, which was a really funny movie. Oh, sweet. So I think, yep. So I'm going to ask him to turn off his Voidwalker's taunt, and we'll see if he's capable of doing that. I'm not going to say smart enough. So let's see. Somebody's messaging me. What's up, man? So just no. So I mean, he's still his guy's still taunting off me, which is kind of annoying. So that does kind of suck. But, I would take somebody taunting off me any day for damage and healing. And obviously the healer is doing a good job. So it looks like he desummoned his Voidwalker, which is not necessary. You don't actually have to do that to get rid of the taunt. Maybe I'll make a little video. I made a video for hunters of how to turn off pet taunt. Maybe I'll do the same for a a warlock, and I have a level 80 warlock. I'll be honest with you guys, I never really used him. I don't really know much about it, but what I do know is how to turn off the taunt on a Voidwalker. So that might not be a lot, but it is what I know how to do on a warlock. I don't know why these guys are getting aggroed off me. They shouldn't be getting aggroed off me. Nobody's doing enough damage. Maybe I'm just not hitting them. That's probably what's going on. I'm probably missing hitting them. So we will make a better effort at doing that. So let's see where everybody is going. So I can actually just go straight to the final boss. So I think that's what we're going to do here because, that's pretty much what everybody just wants. They just want that satchel, that big chunk of EXP, and killing the other stuff's not going to drop any relevant gear for me. I doubt that it'll drop any relevant gear for anybody else because, it could. And it could drop gear for me, but, the satchel actually gives me a guaranteed blue and gives them a guaranteed blue for anybody who's queued up randomly for this. So, yeah, it looks like, the warlock actually, they didn't. I don't know if they just went with something that gives them more DPS, or if they didn't know how to turn off the taunt from the Voidwalker. But they switched pets. You can see it right here. They switched to this little imp-like guy. So that's always nice, and I do really appreciate that. So I'm gonna go ahead and let them know that this is actually being recorded. In case anybody has an issue with it, maybe I can go back and edit out their character's name or something like that. Nobody's really ever said, "Hey, please don't record me." So that is that. So, but you do get griefers every once in a while about it. And I believe that I've actually done this dungeon in my tanking guides. So it's, everything I've done in the dungeon is pretty much the same as I covered in my video, I assume. I haven't watched the video or done it for a while. So that reminds me, I actually need to get around to doing those tanking guides. Again, coming up here. But, I'm doing the Let's Play videos because they're a little bit easier than doing the tanking videos at the moment, and they take less time for me to actually get done. And the tanking videos, so the difference of what I'm doing now as opposed to the tanking guides is in the tanking guides I don't ad lib everything that I'm saying. In these, I'm recording the audio as I'm going through. And the tanking guides, I record the dungeon. I don't record the audio that's going on in the dungeon for me. So I run the dungeon, and then I go back through and I edit it a little bit, like if we wipe or something, I'm gonna edit me running back, because there's no point in you guys watching me run back to the dungeon unless it's like a super tricky, how do I get back to here in the dungeon? So if that's the case, then I might do it, and I might go ahead and just die in a dungeon intentionally to be able to do that sometime coming up. Because there are some dungeons that took me forever and a day to figure out how to get back to them after we died. And it's usually dungeons that you never wipe on, and you're like, oh my gosh. And one person figures it out, and they figure out how to, and so they go and res everybody. And so you spent like 15 minutes trying to figure it out, but obviously you don't want to, hold up the group any longer because everybody else has been spending 15 minutes doing the same thing. So strength, stam, hit, that's actually better, and we don't have anyone else who uses who's a melee in this, so we'll go ahead and just need on that. So the imbued crystal is what you get from doing the Dark Moon Fair, and it's worth like 200 gold. And a lot of characters don't actually have it available to them because the only way to pick it up is to actually go ahead and go through the dungeon. So we'll go ahead and we're going to pop out and we're going to continue on trying to get to the Western Playgrounds. We're going to queue again. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to queue with the same group. Not because there's anything wrong with them. I'm actually going to deny that. And continue on over here, out here a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pause this to check and see how long this video has been going. So we've been doing this video for about 31 minutes right now, so that's actually about the goal that I've been at for these videos. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up this last flight zone and maybe try to get to this zone a little bit on my own for you guys. Although the good thing about this is once I get to that zone, that's 35 to 40. That's 40 to 50. So I'll have some time in that zone to actually, accomplish stuff rather than like the last questing zone we attempted to do. So I just want to let everybody know, thank you very much for watching my videos. I do appreciate it. It's really cool to look on my analytics and be like, holy cow, people have watched X amount of hours of my videos. That is just, that just makes me feel awesome. It's like, holy cow, people actually appreciate what I'm doing. And I'm not just sitting here talking to myself for the thing, and people are actually going to watch it. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, suggestions, please leave them below. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, Arjax out.